John and Ruth are very visionary people. They really understand community needs.
John and Ruth also set the bar very high for being philanthropic leaders, not only in the amount that they give, but the way that they give.
They've chosen to invest significant amounts of money in areas that have been not supported by the private sector or the public sector in the past. John and Ruth were some of the earliest donors for us during my 15-year tenure that said, gee, these people are human beings just like you and I. Having depression, having bipolar disorder, having schizophrenia isn't something to be afraid of. It's not anybody's fault. And if these folks get support, they can be wonderful contributors to our community. They've given us many, many gifts over the years. One for our capital campaign in 2003. So John and Ruth took a risk with us and were the lead donors for that capital campaign. We raised more than $5 million and were able to do two things that had never been done in the state of Minnesota before. Bring homeless people with mental illness out of the cold and put them in housing and give them 24/7 therapeutic support, and opened something called the Huss Recovery Center.
I've known John and Ruth for many years. Well, they've been supporters of Hazelden for well over a decade. John and Ruth have really focused their donations, their contributions to Hazelden in the research area. And they've really been generous to help us support the Butler Center for Research, specifically in studying the addiction treatment needs of older adults. John and Ruth are involved. They don't provide the funds and walk away. They stay with the course. They're very concerned about the mission of the organization, and they really steward their contributions. And I think that's a great thing. And we would be in a lesser place. We would not be as excellent as we are in treating people if it weren't for John and Ruth.
John and Ruth certainly spread their philanthropy across, from social services to, of course, the arts. And they have that appreciation for the value that the arts can bring to a community. So it's not just a jewel in the crown of a community, but it's actually integral to what makes a community. Ruth and John have been critically important to the success of so many arts organizations within the Twin Cities. Of course, in St. Paul and around the Ordway Center are the Ordway and the Minnesota Opera and our participation there, the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra, and the Schubert Club. The Husses were the lead commissioner on The Grapes of Wrath, which was a celebrated opera here produced by Minnesota Opera, which then went on throughout the country. What's also very special about John and Ruth's philanthropy is not only the dollar amount, which is very significant, but also their appreciation for how philanthropy needs to work. Being philanthropic leaders means that they set an example from day one for others to follow, saying, this is the commitment that we make to this organization, so we're not waiting for people to come chasing after us. We believe in this organization and we're going to give so that the organization starts the year in strength.
Well, I think they're real role models throughout the Twin Cities for others who may have means but have not realized what impact they could make.
The Husses are so tremendously deserving of this award because of their great appreciation for what philanthropy can do and the impact that their generosity and their leadership can make on an organization.